finally time for you to buy a new microphone, but what kind should you get? Today we're going to be looking at and comparing 3 different types of microphones. Your good old-fashioned USB microphone, plug and play, cheap, pretty good sound quality, pretty good beginner choice, but maybe not the best for you. Then we also have what we call a LAV microphone, which is basically one of those little mics that you clip onto your shirts, easy to hide, easy to use. Not the best sound quality, but you can definitely work with it. And finally, a studio cardioid microphone like what I'm using here. Probably the best quality, but they do have their caveats. It can be a little expensive because you need extra power for them. So let's look at the differences between these and see which is best for you. This should help you understand the differences between these types of microphones and help you save a buck or two choosing the right one. You don't want to end up with extra microphones you don't really use like me. So let's get started with our USB microphone. This right here is a very typical USB microphone. It's called the Blue. You've probably heard of it before. Now, what's really convenient about these is how easy they are to use. You literally just plug it into any computer, laptop, whatever kind of computer, and it'll start working from the get-go with any software you want. The disadvantages of these is that you're pretty much stuck with what you get. There's no way to really upgrade them other than maybe putting a pop filter on it, and they're actually really fragile. This one already broke on me, so I'm just gonna put some audio that I had previously recorded before so you get an idea of what it sounds like.
The process for second-day air orders is the same. Just change the shipping condition and the date. You may also find air orders that are shipping collect.
Another issue is that you're kind of stuck to a computer when you want to record with these. You absolutely need to be carrying a laptop with you at all times to record it. You can't just connect it to a camera or anything like that. Also, the pickup pattern for these kind of microphones is typically omnidirectional. So what this means is if this is the front of the microphone, it'll pick up everything from here as well as from the back and the sides. Whereas XLR microphones tend to be cardioid or super cardioid, which means that it'll pretty much only try to pick up noise from the front and try to cancel anything from the back. So again, advantages, disadvantages. These are pretty good to get started, but they are not a long-term investment. Mine lasted me maybe a year and a half before it finally gave up and broke. Now, as for XLR microphones, they're a lot better place to get started, I think. You get a lot more variety. As I was mentioning, the pickup pattern is a lot better, so they're way better at canceling noise that you don't want in your video or audio. You can have a bunch of accessories for these guys. Here I have a little pop filter. You can get a little shake guard, so whenever you move the mic, it doesn't sound so obnoxious. And also the cables are completely replaceable, so you can get any either cheap or really good XLR cable and you don't have to worry about breaking it or anything. They're also pretty durable. I mean, these guys right here can take a pretty good beating and you should be fine. They're usually built very solidly. This one right here is the Technica AT2020. You can get it for about 130 to 150 bucks. It's a great deal. It's a great bang for your buck. The issue where these start to get expensive is that you need some place to connect them. For example, you cannot connect this directly to your computer the way you can USB mics. You're gonna need a sound interface connected to your computer, which you will then connect the microphone to. Now the sound interface I got is pretty cheap. It was less than $100. It's pretty much your bottom shelf interface that you can get, which can get the job done, mind you, but if you want to get really good sound, you're gonna need to spend upwards of $100 or $200. Mind you, if you know how you're mixing your audio in post, you can get away with using a really cheap XLR microphone for about 20 bucks, a cheap interface like mine for 50 bucks, and for $70, you're getting way better quality than you would off of a USB microphone. Keep in mind when you're choosing your XLR microphone, some of these need extra what you call phantom power and some of them don't. So make sure you check that in the specs before you buy. And lastly, we have these tiny little lavalier mics, or just lav mics for short. These are super convenient. It's basically just a 3.5mm plug, so just like any headphone jack, and you plug it in directly to any sound recorder and you're good to go. You don't really need any extra power source or anything fancy like that. Now some of these come wireless and they get really expensive, or you can take one of these right here that costs about 20 bucks. The really cool thing about these is that I can connect it directly to my camera. so I don't need to worry about syncing audio in post or anything like that. You can even connect it to your cell phone if you're recording using your cell phone, or if you just want to use your cell phone as an audio source. Typically you would get these and clip it onto your shirt, and then you're about ready to get started recording. Easy as that, quick as that. Now these are not the best quality audio, and they're also omnidirectional, so they won't capture in a specific direction. It'll capture every sound from everywhere pretty much equally. This is why it's necessary to have it so close to your shirt and so close to your mouth, so that it only picks up your audio and nothing else, or from your actor or whoever it is that you're recording. I would only recommend these for voiceover work and if you have no other microphone at hand. But it can be dead useful if you're out in the field and you need to record something really quickly. You're not going to be dragging out this big XLR microphone out in the field. These LAV mics are pretty cool because even when you're in a really noisy environment, they'll still find a way to isolate just your voice since you have them so close to your shirt. And they're really discreet. You can barely even notice that I have it on there at all. But really, any microphone that you get that's not your standard internal microphone for your camera is going to be miles and leagues better than the internal. Here I'm recording using both my internal camera microphone, my XLR microphone, and my LAV microphone connected to my cell phone to get audio. Just so you can see the difference of how much better even a $20 microphone is than the internal microphone on any camera. So out of these three types of mics, which do I think you should be getting? My first choice is going to be this LAV mic. It's really affordable, accessible, and very, very flexible. Even further down the line, when you do upgrade to a better microphone, you can still use this for run and gun shooting, and it only costs about 20 bucks. You can get some really high-end ones, but a cheap $20 one is more than enough to get started, and way better than your internal microphone on your camera. What I don't recommend is getting a USB microphone. They're just really not meant to last, and they're not good quality for what you're spending on them. Take a look at this. It costs about 50 bucks, and for that price, you can get an XLR microphone and a USB sound card for just maybe $20 or $30 more, which is way, way better sound quality, and it's much better for the future for upgrading, and it's much more flexible for editing in post. Definitely, hands down, the best kind of microphone you're gonna get is an XLR microphone with a USB interface. If you have the money to spend, then don't even think about it. That's gonna be your first choice. Just make sure it's one that has a cardioid pattern, so it only picks up noises that are from the front and tries to cancel anything in the background. I hope you guys found this little review useful. If you did, leave a like. Any questions, put it down in the comments. And make sure to subscribe for more.